this is about how the media treats certain celebrities and I guess exasperate the flaws or things that are considered bad that happen in their lives. As everybody knows, we've all got skeletons in the closet, but when you're in the public eye, there's more investment in you from people that you don't even know personally than if you're just a random guy or girl who's just living their life. The thing to say though is that with the social media aspect, it's not like social media hasn't created this. I'm sure if you went back to the 60s or 70s and there were celebrities whose mode of communication between people that knew them was like fan mail, you'd find out that a lot of them got letters that were full of all types of madnesses.
Still do.
And probably still do, probably still
fan
do.
really
And the letters as well, you have to know the address, which arguably makes it more scary. Imagine getting a death threat through your letterbox. That means that whoever's written that knows where you live.
I think it usually goes to like their agent or agency or
They
something.
go to an
like.
agency first.
Yeah.
And they will go through it, they'll filter it, and then if they decide...
What, they'll filter it and think, yeah, this is calm.
That's how it is now, but I think in the 60s or whatnot, I don't think it was as simple as that. It would have usually gone to their home. And because of that now, they go to the agency first, someone will read it, and then they'll decide if it's good enough to go to them. A lot of them just get thrown away.
Yeah, because in the 90s it was a PO box. That's they used to have PO boxes, so you could just send it, and then whatever you open, you open.
Yeah.
Nuts.
And I'm sure, I think now with the social media aspect, it's just that being able to do that can happen at the, touch of a button and within seconds, and also so much of it at once.
And it's made it a lot more efficient to get out a lot with minimal effort in it.
And so it can look like, look, for example, with certain celebrities, if something bad comes out about them, it can look like, so many people dislike me, when that's actually just a small proportion of the people that are actually interested in you or invested in your life, whether that's for good or for bad. And so it could distort kind of the view of how you're being perceived. But I think it just comes back to, having building the tools as an individual to deal with that, because that's the nature of the beast now.
So is there more resilience from the individual?
Yeah, because for example, with the media outlets, their aim is to drive that kind of, interest in their stories, whether it's through, kind of concocted stories or things which are true and that they've taken to the nth degree. That's what they're trying to do, because at the end of the day, they need people engaging with their media publications so that they make money. So they're going to do it the easiest way they can. So they've got no responsibility really, or we should expect no responsibility for them, because their business model is to do the exact opposite of that, almost.
So that, I saw a journalist write an article basically revealing how she'd written something nasty about Caroline Flack, and that she did it because that's what the public want. And I find that excuse a bit lazy. So I'm not saying that we as the public, people that click on these clickbait articles and then retweet them, aren't responsible, but for the press to then turn around and say, well, we're just giving you what you want. I kind of think of what came first, the chicken or the egg. That when did we start getting used to these kind of stories and then wanting more of them? It's not as simple as saying, well, we're just giving it to you because that's what you ask for. They write, because these kind of stories have made it so pretty much anyone can be a journalist. You can write crap and then post that on the Daily Mail or on Twitter, and it gets loads of retweets. So I definitely think it's not as black and white, and we can't just point the finger at the press, but similarly they can't just point the finger at people that use Twitter.
But it's also the fact that controversy sells. So the more controversy, the more the press just eat it up. But I think it also, in terms of the individual, it depends on how much you let people know. So what you put out, that then you can't expect to not be scrutinized or criticized. So if you're a private person and PR's got you down packed, you're all right. Like J. Cole, he's had a child. No one knows what his child looks like. Beyonce, all now, we haven't seen her twins. It's just certain things, there's certain levels that the more you put out, the more you should expect to get in. You get what I mean?
So what do we think about when journalists hack people's phones or go after people that they're close to get information so the individual might not be sharing that, but someone has paid off a cousin or a family member to share information. So there's only so much control they might have over that stuff getting out there. And should the press or whoever be, taking those routes to get that information, I think
there's a fine line to distinguish there between journalists being underhand and being illegal essentially and public interest, because there's a lot of things that celebrities might do because those same phone hacks could reveal that they were exploiting children or they were maybe not in the celebrity's case but involved in terrorist activity, for example. These are not things that people necessarily put out in the public domain, but because someone might have seen, there's potential for there to be a link drawn here. Let's do some digging, maybe a bit of underhand tactics going on in the background. If that's then uncovered something that is really potentially serious, then we're able to almost turn the blind eye. But it's finding that line, that distinction. I think that is what is usually blurred in these situations.
100%. Because we don't really need to know the ins and outs of Caroline Flack's life or anyone's life, really. Like, these celebrities, oftentimes they're celebrities because they've got a talent or a skill and they've been able to monetize off of it. But knowing their everyday endeavors, like, I don't need to see Kanye West going to get milk. But that's, do you know what I mean? But it's the pressure, like the constant pressure on these people in the public eye. And I think we as consumers need to take a bit more responsibility, because we're always demanding information. Like, we always want to know more. We always want content from people. And for a lot of these like presenters, like I was listening to Fern Cotton talking to Russell Brand, and she got into the media early, like 15 or 16. Like, from you are popular in the media, that is it. Like, they are on your case every single day. Like, we should expect celebrities that are constantly in the public eye to have mental health issues. Like, for me, that is an expectation now, because with mental health, it's a spectrum, it's fluid. You're not going to consistently feel good about yourself, but when you're in the public eye, you're meant to consistently be perfect, like consistently match what people expect of you. So I think celebrity culture and mental health issues kind of go hand in hand with the amplification of public views on everything you do.
Mm-hmm. At the same time, even though a celebrity might be in the public eye all the time, it goes back to their own resilience, as Dami was saying, because if they're like, I don't really feel like putting a full face of makeup on, I'm just going to go to, Tesco, buy some milk or whatever. I don't care if paparazzi catch me and put me on Heat magazine saying, look at this person, like, looking all tired and stuff like that. Like, if they are comfortable with that in themselves because they know who they are and whatever, then it's not a problem. But if they are concerned about what is being published about them in that respect, then they'll feel more pressure internally to think, I constantly have to match what everyone is expecting me to look like, what everyone's expecting me to say, what everyone's expecting me to do. Like, I have to constantly be at a certain level and I can't let myself dip below that. And I think it's that pressure that will drive people along the detrimental side of the mental health spectrum, as you were saying. But if I think they feel a bit more comfortable within themselves and think, you know what, I'm going to have down days sometimes. I'm not going to feel positive all the time, and the public, if I own that, the public will get to know me for that and move on from there. I think if that was the case more often than not, then we'll be all right. But I don't think right now, I don't think celebrities are ready to, or I don't think enough celebrities are out there doing that to kind of instigate a cultural shift. We see some examples of this, like Stormzy, for example. I think Stormzy is a really good example of this because he just has that I don't care attitude kind of thing. Like, he will be himself all the time, 24/7. It doesn't matter. Like, if he gets papped in a trackie, that's him. If he gets papped in GQ magazine, that's him. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like, I always got to be flossing now just in case. Nah, like, he's just out there, you know what I mean? So, like, I saw he was at some Sunday League game the other day with SC Dons. Like, what other musicians trying to do it? So, yeah, I think when you're comfortable within your own self, it gives you that platform to then be more secure in the eyes of the media. But if you've got insecurities there originally, it will just be laid out to bear.
But I feel like that's really difficult to achieve. To be completely comfortable with oneself, yet you have the whole online world constantly attacking every little bit about you. Now, Caroline Flack had that. She had people always on her case on Twitter, on the social media saying, oh, she shouldn't be presenter of Love Island, Maya Jama, she's ugly, her walk down here is bad, her dress, her this, her, all the time. So how does one achieve that sense of complete self-love if everybody around you that you're selling yourself to essentially hates you for petty reasons, not even really anything real? I think it's something that is really almost impossible even. I don't know if I'd be able to do that in the way that, say, a Stormzy did. I think with Caroline Flack as the example, I think it's really unreasonable to say that it's on her to have to love herself more and just ignore everyone. I think there are people out there that need to relax a bit and understand that these people, they're paid how much, they're paid lots, they go out there, they're doing this, but they're still in a different world than we are. They are being attacked by eyes they've never seen before. They are being attacked by people that know nothing about them except for that 2-minute walk on Love Island, right? We have the benefit of being able to turn off our phones and completely disappear because no one knows who we are. These people don't. So
I disagree.
They do.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do.
Okay, but my my argument, my argument here is more that, okay, yes, build up your resilience, because having resilience is just helpful for all parts of life, whether that be at work, whatever your work is, even if you're not a celebrity, through lots of different things. But that shouldn't be you need to build up your resilience. People should also just be nicer. Like, we don't need to, like, talking about the walk, like, who cares about how short it's something? It's ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you like to think, oh, you can't get upset over someone criticizing your walk, but I just imagine if I logged into Twitter, and of course I can log out, but I see hundreds of tweets talking about the way I walk and how ridiculous it is, no matter how confident I am in myself, I'm going to be a bit like, oh, is there something wrong with me?
You just start overthinking it in your head and you start moving differently.
Of course, but no, at the same time, it's like, before, like you were saying, you don't know if you could handle that. But if you're within yourself, you're confident, and you know your identity, you know who you are, why would you care? Despite the celebrity of who you are now, who you were before the fame.
Because that can change. Don't you think that can change? You may think you know who you are in terms of that, and then you have a million people telling you something completely different, and you start to question it.
Yeah, but with the million people that are telling you something different, there's probably equal numbers that are positive towards you. Like, you're seeing, what we're seeing on our followers and who we see retweeting stuff are the negative comments. That doesn't mean that all comments are negative. That just means that what we see are negative comments. There are positive comments out there. And taking a walk as a specific example, yeah? You say, oh, who cares? She's just walking. Love Island have produced a segment to zoom in on her walking. Like, they've probably done this so many times. And she's strutting and she's like flicking her hair back. This is a segment where we're going to showcase Caroline Flack. And we're going to get this correct. We're going to go over this a few times, make sure everything looks great. As soon as everyone's happy, boom, this is what we're going with. And she walks into the house, blah, blah, blah. So this isn't just like, oh, she just walked in and everyone's like, oh my God, look at her walk. No, they have manufactured this specific setting to look at her walk. So now you have to be within yourself resilient enough to think, you know, not everyone's gonna like the way how I'm doing this. I like the way how I'm doing this. That's why we're going with this shot, and then that's how you move forward. Like, you can't, as much as we say, being personal responsibility always is not the. It cannot always be the answer, yeah, because it's not a silver bullet. People also need to take personal responsibility in what they put out there. But realistically, what do you have control over? You have control over yourself. So you can't expect people to change their behavior and act off that. No, you have to change within yourself. Obviously, what's going out there is bad. What's going on out there is bad. But you know what? I have control within my own self and my own actions and my own thought process. So I'm going to focus on that first, and all the rest is noise. Obviously, that's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but that is realistically all you can really do.
Because it's a bit deeper, if we're looking for other people to change, because we're basically saying everyone should be more empathetic. How do we do that? How do we incentivize many people to do that? Because for the most part, a lot of those people that are hating on these celebrities and saying, like, maybe not necessarily criticism, because criticism is, you know, part of life and we have to be able to deal with it. And sometimes it's quite positive. We learn things about ourselves which we're able to change and adapt and develop to. But if we're going into more comments that are filled with like hate and vitriol, then I think usually it's those people projecting their own pain. And so how do we then say to those people, no, you, like, obviously I understand that what they're doing isn't helpful or right, but it's a very difficult thing to get those people to change their behavior, because in some way they're just venting their own frustration and pain. Like, how do we incentivize those people not to do that and to be more empathetic? It's a long and difficult journey to achieve that, I think. So whilst that's the case, then as an individual, like, you have to be honest with yourself and look at, can I actually deal with this, and build some other ways to combat the environment, because the environment's not going to change anytime soon.
I agree massively with like the last 2 points. So firstly, with what Byron was saying about, you should it's a production, and it's anything, like, it's film. Like, I see Michael B. Jordan getting roasted because he doesn't really change the way his facial expressions. Like, a lot of people have kind of had that criticism. I don't know what everyone thinks in the room, but I saw was it Just Mercy? Yeah. And it was like I was just watching the brother from Creed. Like, he just literally left the boxing set and then went and did law. Like, it's the same brother. Like,
took off the gloves and put on the tie.
Yeah, literally. Like, his face doesn't change, innit? But that's one of the criticisms. You're an actor. You gotta just run. You gotta roll with the punches. Do you
agree with the criticism?
Pun intended.
Yeah, pun intended. I do agree with the punches. Come on. I agree with the criticism. Like, I think his acting is so limited. It's limited. And again, I'm entitled to have that criticism because he's put the production out into the world. I obviously wouldn't roast him in a rude way, but like Michael, like, fix up, bro. Try like acting school, but yeah, like, go back just a couple courses, but
character development.
Yeah, but it happens, and I think like, anyone that puts yourself in the media, expect to be judged. Like, you have to expect it. And someone said it, everyone's a critic now. Yeah. Everyone has a platform to voice their opinion, and I think it is resilience. I agree with what you were saying before, that people can just be nicer and be kinder, but you can't force people to be nice. And that's one of the difficulties with like media in general. Has anyone seen the Dot Rotten sneak bow thing?
I have, yes.
I've not seen the video, but I've heard a lot about it. I've even seen some musicians' responses.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
To be honest, I've seen that video. I haven't even seen the initial video.
Oh, what? I've been scrolling through the comments and saying, "Hey, look, Link Up TV. Hey, what? I thought you were supposed to be neutral."
Wow.
How are Link Up TV in the comments laughing? You know,
this is the funniest thing. Like, the people you think are behind you, they're not behind you when stuff gets tough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the sad thing is, everything will be publicized. Like, everything. It doesn't matter. As soon as there's a camera out, it's getting put up there. And, you know, it's just, like you said, resilience. You have to be resilient because it's happening to you. And at the same time, like you said, people do need to be nicer, but people are only nicer when it happens to them. So when a situation arises and it's them in that position, then it's like, they think back to,
shit,
right?
This ain't nice.
This ain't nice. You know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be that way, but it's life. People don't care until it's them.
Unfortunately, the rules of the internet is that if it doesn't matter about the truth if the lie is funnier.
There we go.
And that's the rules of the internet. That's how it works.
Agenda over facts. 100%.
100%. 100%.
And people run with that.
Has it always been that way though?
Yeah, definitely.
As in before the internet. Yeah. That's just human nature then.
Yeah.
So then we should all just be personally responsible for how we deal with that.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
Right?
Always.
I agree with that.